Hello everyone. This is Jerry again. We're going to talk about the question of how do you start? How do you start buying rental property? Let's say you're probably convinced that this property ownership idea is pretty good. Great. Then the first thing you need to do before buying single family homes is to find a good real estate attorney. Sometimes questions come up in real estate activities and transactions require an answer from an attorney. In some small communities, the attorneys do everything from divorces to criminal cases. Do your best to find one that can handle real estate exclusively if you can. After you've done some business with them, they will take your phone call and discuss your question without having to make an appointment. Talk to him or her about your plans and also another subject, incorporating. With a corporation, you can get certain tax treatment that could be very beneficial down the road after you have accumulated a considerable sum of real estate property. You cannot go back after the fact and form a corporation. You have to do that before you buy the first piece of property. Now, I'll tell you here, I didn't form a corporation when I got my properties. I just did them as an individual. But I don't know if it'll save me any money or not, but that's something you can check out. The second thing you need to do is visit with a tax accountant. I prefer the CPA, Certified Public Accountant, because you probably have less concern if they know what they're doing. Even if you decide not to incorporate, you will still need an accountant to guide you through real estate depreciation schedules, income tax issues that are sure to come up with buying, owning, selling, and leasing real estate. As with the attorney, after you've done some business with them, they will accept your calls concerning questions that come up regarding real estate transactions. Some may say, isn't that it taking advantage of professionals? No, I don't think so. You should always offer to pay for their services if it's more than a 3-minute phone call. But most professionals will add their charges in on your bill when they bill you for normal service in the future. Try to stick with the same professional. Don't play the field to avoid paying for advice. Is it possible to not use an attorney or an accountant? Sure, you can go the cheap route, do your own thing, write up and print out your own contracts on your home computer and so on. Personally, I'd rather leave the knowledge of the state and federal law to the professionals while I go out and try to find undervalued good homes for sale. Speaking of undervalued homes, how does one find these? The question is very hard to answer unless you have what we call background work. Rather than go through a real estate's MLS listing, either through a weekly publication or on the internet, I would recommend another way to do this. Get out a sheet of paper and write down the first priority of your home you would buy. For example, first priority, now this is just me. The first priority I put down is it must be in a crime-free neighborhood. The second priority must be the most undervalued property on the block or street. Third priority must not require extensive foundation or structural repairs. The fourth priority might be the location must have mostly homeowners nearby, not a majority of tenant-occupied homes. In other words, the neighborhood that you're looking at doesn't have a lot of rental homes in the area. The property in question can be bought up to a value that equals other nearby homes without extensive expenditures. You can have several. These are just 5 that I would go with to start with. Continue this exercise until you've run out of ideas on what you want. Some people may want a big yard or a small yard. That just depends on the person. These are just examples of what I've chosen. You notice I didn't even get into the type of construction such as wood frame, stucco, what type of roof such as composition, flat, and so on. I personally like to put location on the top of my list. You need to concentrate on the area of the locale where you're located that has property in the better part of town. Now, by this, I don't mean go out and look for high-end property and gated communities with a Lexus and BMW parked in front of their circle driveway. I'm talking about blue-collar neighborhoods. You want to concentrate on locations where couples mostly work for hourly wages or who own fixed income and have been in their home for many years and retired on that street. These are the moderately priced homes that are in the middle ground of home values in their locale. I prefer like 2 or 3 bedrooms homes with a small garage or carport with a small fenced yard in the back. I like homes that have kind of small, 900 to 1,300 square feet. These are decent homes in decent neighborhoods where there is little or no crime and generally neighbors know each other. To me, these are the best value for the dollar. Why is that? Well, number one, they're not new. They're 20, 30, 40 years, 50 years old. So a lot of young couples just starting out, just wanting, they want a brand new home that costs 3 or 4 times what these cost. They're not interested in doing sweat equity in repairing a house before they move into it. Maybe they don't know how to do it, or maybe their mom or dad didn't show them how to do it. They just don't have any skills in that area. In a lot of cases, they were children of baby boomers like myself, called Generation Xers, and refused to live in a lower standard of living than their parents and their friends. Sweat equity is a term used to describe increasing the value of a home by doing the repair work yourself. That's what you'll be doing if you so choose to increase the value in any home that you may buy. Here's a scenario of how I may find undervalued home that is not even listed for sale in the MLS, multiple listing service. I get my car or truck, drive down through the type of neighborhoods I described previously in the daytime, preferably after the workday or on the weekend. You go slowly up down every street in the neighborhood. Take notes on the addresses of properties that look very nice and those that don't look so nice. Later, you can go to the county tax records on the internet and look up particulars of property. Boy, this is a big thing that they put tax records on the internet. I mean, used to I had to go down to the tax office and do this kind of stuff, but now you can go on the internet and do it right there on your computer or your phone if you wanted to. Notice the overall condition of the neighborhood. Are there any bars on the windows and doors of these houses? Are children absent instead of playing outside in the yards? Are cars jacked up in the driveway or on the street? Are cars or trucks parked in the front yard? Do groups of young people seem to be congregating and looking suspiciously at you when you drive by? Is garbage piled up in the front or beside any of the houses in plain view? Is indoor furniture pulled outside on porches or yard? Do the yards have little or no landscaping with weeds and trash around? These are symptoms of a neighborhood in decline. It doesn't mean it's a bad neighborhood. It's just a neighborhood I don't want to own a home in. If you think the neighborhood is okay in the daytime, then drive around the same streets in the evening. Also, try Friday and Saturday nights during warm weather to see if any neighbors have loud parties or loud music every weekend. Remember, you and possibly your family will be working many nights in the home you buy, so if you're afraid of the neighborhood at night, Why would you think your tenants would want to live there and pay you rent? You can't hide these kinds of problems from prospective tenants anyway. Think about it. More often than not, you will be showing this property to prospective tenants in the late afternoon, evening, or on the weekend. Now, if you drive through one of these neighborhoods and you noticed all is well even on nights and weekends, that's a good sign. All you need to do is concentrate on those one or two homes that seem to be vacant or not cared for very well compared to the rest of the neighborhood. The yard's overgrown with weeds, the paint's flaking off, garbage and trash scattered around, doors and windows have missing screens. Now I call it the ugly duckling of the neighborhood. Jot down the address of this property and do some research. Walk around the outside of the property, inspecting condition as much as you can. Try to find out who the owner is from tax records and try to determine the tax value. Contact the owner, look up the owner. I guess you could write him a letter or something, or a note, and find out if they would be considering selling the property. Go ahead and ask the price, but don't talk final price or terms or give away a facial expression if you didn't like the price. Just kind of have a poker face when he gives you the price. You can't even begin to think price until you've seen the inside of the property. All you're trying to do is find out if the owner wants to sell it. If all is a go from this point, have the owner meet you and let you take a look at the inside of the property. Try to maintain a positive attitude and expression. Do not say anything negative or laugh about the condition of the property in front of the owner. If you can, try to get the owner to do all the talking while you look over the inside condition. Try to determine how the owner came by the property, how he came to own it, and how long he or she has owned it, and the reason for selling. If the owner asks questions of you, answer them truthfully. Do not be evasive. This person might be a multimillionaire on 50 properties and have a vast knowledge of real estate, but look like a janitor because he or she's been cleaning up a vacant house across town until you interrupted them to look at their property. After the inspection and most of your questions from the owner answered, it's time to leave and study the numbers. Don't waste the owner's time with chit-chat unless they seem to not be in a hurry. You might casually ask if they have any other properties for sale if you determine they have other properties in your locale. Well, that's all for this time, and hopefully you got some insight into how to check out a prospect property. See you next time.